وأصحابك يا حبيب الله
وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله
وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله
وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله
نويت سنة الاعتكاف.
نويت سنة الاعتكاف.
The Prophet of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, has stated that the angels, they keep sending mercies upon a Muslim when he continues to recite Durood Sharif upon them. Now it is the person's choice whether he recites less or more Durood Sharif. And the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has also stated that whoever recites Durood Sharif upon me once, Allah Azza wa Jal, He sends 10 mercies upon that person. Not only just 10 mercies, Allah Azza wa Jal also sends He forgives his rank. He forgives his sins 10 times. He forgives his sins 10 times, tenfold. And He elevates his rank 10 times as well. Now, in regards with these narrations of Durood Sharif, as we've just heard, let us, with love and devotion, send Durood Sharif upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Now, I've just recited or read to you two great narrations regarding Durood Sharif's blessings, its fazilat and its rewards. It's such a little thing to do, and yet we gain so much reward. And the topic that I thought of today, which is why I said these two blessings, these two narrations of Durood Sharif, is how lucky we are to be Ummatees of the most beloved sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. How lucky we are that we have these great blessings upon us. And these two narrations from Sunan Ibn Majah and Sunan Nasa'i, two of the 6 authentic hadith books, and it shows how great even just saying sallallahu alayhi Muhammad is. How great and how big of a reward we get if we continuously recite this as well. So inshallah we should always stay in the dhikr of Allah and His Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we should try and send as much Durood Sharif as possible upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now I'm going to begin with a story, and this story is about a Shaykh al-Islam of the Shafi'i school of thought. So about 200 years ago in Makkah al-Mukarramah, Ahmad ibn Zayd Dahlan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said that one of the greatest walis, Abu al-Mawahib al-Shadili Qaddasu sallallahu sirrahu al-Aziz, he said that I saw the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in a dream, and I asked him, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah Azza wa Jal will pray 10 times on whoever prays on you 1 time. Isn't this so? And this is the hadith of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Man salla alayya wahidatan sallallahu alayhi ashara. That whoever recites salat upon me 1 time, Allah Azza wa Jal sends 10 blessings upon that person. So Imam Abu al-Muwahib al-Shadli radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he continued, for the one who prays on you 1 time, does his heart, does it need to be present, or can it be absent? Meaning that many people, they recite Durood Sharif, and at the same time they're having a conversation with people, and the heart is not present whilst they're doing the Durood Sharif, but their tongue is still saying the Durood Sharif. So is that acceptable, Ya Rasulullah? Or must your heart also be present whilst giving Durood Sharif? And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, he replied to this question, فَقَالَ لَا, meaning he said, no. It is not necessary for your heart to be present whilst sending Durood Sharif upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So even someone whose heart is ghafil, meaning heedless, and not present with me, if he prays on me 1 time, Allah Azza wa Jal subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him mountains of angels. Mountains of angels. this means that there are an infinite number of angels who pray for him and they'll ask for forgiveness on his behalf. And that is for someone who says, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. And his heart is not with it, but with the people that he's with. So this is for the person whose heart isn't in the Durood Sharif, he's just saying it. Sometimes, for me for example, when I'm reading tasbih, I'll be doing other things, but I'm still reciting Sallallahu ala Muhammad, Sallallahu ala Muhammad, Sallallahu ala Muhammad, and I'm walking with my friends, and maybe we're going to a restaurant or something. So my heart's not in it, but yeah, this is the reward for a person whose heart is not in it. This is why it's such a great blessing that we are Ummatees of RasoolAllah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and that we can send Durood Sharif upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in the dream, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he continued. He goes, if the person's heart is present, no one knows what will be given to him except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this, you can take the meaning from this, that the reward for one such salawat on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is beyond any imagination or description. Can you believe that? That someone who does it without thinking, without putting their heart into it, that their reward is mountains of angels asking for forgiveness of them. And when you put your heart into it, when you do it with love and devotion of the Holy Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, only Allah knows the great reward we will get. Such is the bounty and how lucky we are to be part of this ummah, that we can give and send durood upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now the question in the dream was whether the heart is present or if the heart is heedless. And if the heart is heedless, this is just a summary now again, that Allah will give the likeness of mountains of angels praying and asking for forgiveness on your behalf. And when someone is reaching to make this connection in their heart, then no one knows what Allah will give. Nobody knows. And that's how great of a reward that is prescribed for giving Durood Sharif with putting your heart into it. And this is just a couple of narrations that I've mentioned about Durood Sharif that show the great blessings in it. The previous ummats, they didn't have Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as their leader. And we, alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, give shukr to Allah Azza wa Jal, thank Him that we are part of this ummah, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our leader and our master, and that we can send Durood Sharif upon him, and that we get such great reward. And just more onto this topic, if you don't know, this is the magazine that Dawud Islami released. It's in English as well, just for this special month that just went by, Rabiul Awwal Sharif. And in here, there's a fantastic article about how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how lucky we are that Allah Azza wa Jal has bestowed us the greatness to be part of His ummah. So the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has truly said, and this is a hadith from Al-Bukhari, volume 1, page 42, hadith 71, that إِنَّمَا أَنَا قَاسِمٌ وَاللَّهُ يُعْطِي. And translation for this is that I am the only one who distributes and only Allah Azza wa Jal gives. So meaning that what the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam distributes has not been specified in this blessed hadith. According to the rule, its meaning in this condition will be that the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the only one who distributes every single blessing, and no one can get anything directly without his favor. Now some people might be thinking, what's going on here? Allah is the one who gives everything. But if you look at this hadith, that I am the one who distributes and Allah is the giver, then it's clear to see that Rasulullah is the one who gives. And who would he give more to than his ummatees? This is why we're so blessed to have Rasulullah as our leader of our ummah. Allama Mufti Muhammad Sharif al-Haq Amjadi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he further stated that no one in creation can get anything directly without the favor of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There is Sahih authentic hadith in Bukhari and other books that the beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said إِنَّمَا أَنَا قَاسِمٌ وَاللَّهُ يُعْطِي. Now, if you look at the words قَاسِمٌ, which means distributor, and يُعْطِي, which means giver, the grammatical relationship of these words show that these words, they cover everything. It means that whatever Allah Azza wa Jal gives to anyone in creation, whether that blessing it will be physical or spiritual, apparent or concealed, He Azza wa Jal gives everything through the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When you look at the meaning of these words, it doesn't just mean one thing, that Allah Azza wa Jal gives one thing, that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam distributes one thing. It's a very broad word when you look into the Arabic of these words. A very broad word, so the use is for everything. Now, commentator of Bukhari Sharif, Allama Ahmad al-Khatib Qastalani, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, has stated in his book that he also holds the same opinion, i.e. that the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the central authority for the enforcement of divine orders, that he is the enforcement of divine orders. So everything is given through the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and every order is enforced through the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Mufti Ahmad Yarqan Naimi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he's also stated that we come to know from it that Allah Azza wa Jal gives all the religious and worldly blessings, such as knowledge, iman, faith, wealth, children, clothes, etc. And the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he distributes them. Whatever anyone has got, he got it through Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because in the hadith, neither has it been specified what Allah Azza wa Jal gives, nor has it been specified what the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam distributes. Therefore, this opinion is wrong, that the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam distributes only knowledge. Otherwise, because of the link between the two Arabic words, that it means that is broad and that they link together, otherwise it implies that Allah Azza wa Jal would only also give only knowledge, and Allah Azza wa Jal, as we know, gives more than that. So this is why we can categorically say that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the distributor of all blessings, not just to this ummah, although we are favoured upon because we are ummatees, but also previous ummahs as well. And this again, reading through this beautiful magazine, that this saying of the blood Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it was heartening for the people at the time, that Allah Azza wa Jal bestows some people more and some people less. The person who I am giving more, it is because Allah Azza wa Jal has specified it, and I am giving comparatively less to someone, it is also because Allah Azza wa Jal has specified for him to have less. So this proves that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this is in Sharah ibn Bathil, and this is just further confirming the status of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as Qasim, the distributor. So that is this beautiful magazine, and Dawud Islami published this beautiful magazine for the a special English edition only for the month of Rabiul Awwal Sharif. And just to move on and talk about how lucky we are in this blessed ummah, that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that we've had so many things bestowed upon us that are beautiful, that we don't even know about. One of them is that good deeds, doing a good deed, is a form of expiation for our bad deeds, meaning that doing a good deed, it deletes or erases our bad deeds. Now our ummah is so great that this was not told to any previous ummahs. Now Musa alayhi salam, he saw something on the sacred tablet on the Lawh Mahfuz. And Musa alayhi salam, he said to Allah Azza wa Jal, Ya Rabb Allah Azza wa Jal, I have seen on the sacred tablet that there will be an ummah. That if one of those people of the ummah, they do one good deed, then Allah Azza wa Jal writes to your book 10 good deeds. Look at the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. He Azza wa Jal says that if a person still doesn't do a good deed, and he has the intention to do a good deed, if you remember I mentioned this last week, that if he has the intention to do a good deed, or he doesn't put that good deed in effect, Allah Azza wa Jal still writes for you one good deed. So you could have, this is actually a proper intention, not one of those fake jokey intentions that people sometimes make, but a proper intention of doing a good deed, and for some reason you couldn't do that good deed, you still get one good deed written into your book of deeds, subhanAllah. Now Musa alayhi salam, after reading all this and telling Allah Azza wa Jal this, he fell into sujood to Allah Azza wa Jal, and he pleaded with Allah Azza wa Jal, Ya Rabb, my Lord, make it my ummah, make it my ummah. And then Allah Azza wa Jal, he replied to Musa alayhi salam, Ya Musa alayhi salam, this is not your ummah, but it is the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This shows the greatness of our ummah, that we get this blessing and it wasn't for previous ummahs. And this is because of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is our leader, because of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the most beloved to Allah Azza wa Jal, that he has graced us. He's graced us with this beautiful blessing. And how lucky we are that we were just born in this. We were born in this ummah. How lucky we are. And talking about how lucky we are, we're also ungrateful. You know, we waste these opportunities. We waste what has been given to us. What I've just read here, we waste this. We absolutely waste it. Of course we do. We're not worthy of having such blessings, and yet Allah has bestowed this upon us because of His beloved Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we're just lucky that we were born at this time. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us more keen and instill in our hearts more love for Him, Allah Azza wa Jal, and His Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So as I mentioned before, that good deeds, they delete bad deeds. Good deeds are expiation for our bad deeds. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said that wherever you are, always fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Always be wary of Allah Azza wa Jal, and always know that He Azza wa Jal is watching you. We should all learn the names of Allah Azza wa Jal and the translation of His names, because then we can know who our Lord is. Do you know who your Lord is? If I ask you this question, probably a lot of you say no. Do you know many of the 99 names of Allah Azza wa Jal? People would say no. Or I sometimes maybe ask people, does Ar-Rahman and Rahim mean? And they don't know. Allah Azza wa Jal has these 99 names, and it gives us an idea of how Allah Azza wa Jal is. And if we know how our Lord is, how our Creator is, then we can have more love for Allah Azza wa Jal. How can you love something that you don't have any knowledge about? So we have to increase our knowledge about Allah Azza wa Jal and acquaint ourselves and familiarize with His names, so that we know who our Lord is and we can glorify Him properly, and that we can worship Him properly as well. The reason we lack istiqamat in our deeds, steadfastness in our deeds, is because we don't know who our Lord is. We don't know who our Lord is. This is the reason why. And carrying on, whenever you do a bad deed, always follow that bad deed with a good deed, because that good deed is expiation for the bad deed. And Allah Azza wa Jal will accept that good deed, and depending on how the person does the good deed, Allah Azza wa Jal multiplies the reward by 700 times. And this is another great reward that is bestowed upon us because of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and that we are lucky to be His Ummatees. And the final part of the hadith is that, and treat your brothers and the creation with goodness. Treat them with goodness. There is no better role model to follow than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And if you remember last week, I was talking about adab and how we want to build an atmosphere in this community of love. This is how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to act with his followers, with his sahaba ikram, with his family. And this is how we should follow Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He is our role model, our greatest role model, and we should follow his sunnah as much as possible. So treat your brothers and the creation with goodness. Now again, all the narrations I mentioned just solidify how lucky we are to be in this ummah. And I want to say some more things about how lucky we are in the position that people of the past, how they would love to be in our position, how the correct word isn't envy, because they'd want us to have this blessing, but they also want this blessing, but they couldn't have it. So you know all the other prophets, alayhim salam, they did dua to be part of this ummah that we are in. They did dua to be part of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's ummah. They did dua to be where you are sitting right now. They did dua to be where you are breathing right now. They did dua to be part of the ummah of Rasul. And yet we were born in this. And as I said, we just waste this beautiful opportunity that we have. We waste the beautiful blessings that we have been given by Allah because we are His beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam's ummatees. And there's only one Prophet alayhi salam who gets the opportunity to be part of this ummah. Anyone have a guess who? Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam has the blessing to be part of this ummah, inshallah, when he comes down to fight the Dajjal and kill him, and then he'll live peacefully for 40 years as an ummati of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wallahu alam, only Allah knows why his dua was accepted and that he will be part of this ummah, inshallah. Now I'm going to move on to another Durood Sharif blessing, a narration of how many, if someone reads a certain amount of Durood Sharif in a day, and how beautiful it is. And then there's a story that also follows this. Man صلى علي في يوم 50 مرة صافحته يوم القيامة. Now what this means is that whoever recites Durood Sharif upon me 50 times in a day, only 50, that takes not even 2 minutes to read. Sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's 2 in less than 2 seconds. So to read 50 is not long at all. So if you read Durood Sharif upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam 50 times a day, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that I will shake hands with him on the day of judgment. Now some of you may think, I want to shake hands with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my master, my leader. But do any of you know what it would mean if he shook your hand on the day of judgment? There's a story, and I think a hadith narration as well. I can't remember which hadith it is, but I was told this story. That Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha, she was at home and she was making dough to make bread. Say roti, for example. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he saw this whilst he was in the house, and he joined her and made one himself. And once he made it, there was more than enough made, and Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha, she put it over the fire, or if they had an oven at the time, I'm not 100% sure. But put it on the fire to cook. And after some time, Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha, she took out the bread. And all of them were cooked, apart from one. One of them was still this cold dough, and everything else was hard, beautiful bread. And she was thinking, hey, why is this one not being cooked for? And she started thinking, what could be the reason, what could be the wisdom behind this? And then she remembered that this particular one was the one that was made by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she inquired with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did you make this bread? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam obviously replies in the affirmative, yes. And Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala, she was still confused as to why the bread was not cooked, why it was not warm, it was still cold. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he then explained that whatever touches my hands cannot be touched by fire, cannot be warmed by fire, cannot be hurt by fire. So with this Durood Sharif narration that I mentioned, of reciting it 50 times a day and then getting to shake hands with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of judgment, would that not almost guarantee you from staying away from the fire? Because this bread was kept uncooked and cold whilst in the oven or above the fire. So now imagine when a person actually shakes the hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the blessing that we get. How long would it take you to do 50 Durood Sharif in a day? Not long. Absolutely not long. There's so many benefits to Durood Sharif. If someone reads it 100 times a day, someone reads it 200 times a day. I haven't got them off the top of my head, but I remember to read 1,000 a day. To read 1,000 Durood Sharif a day, I'll tell you the summary because I don't remember the exact word for word hadith, that a person will not leave this world until they see their place in Jannah. And this is what Rasulullah said, that if you read Durood Sharif 1,000 times a day, and yet we have this beautiful blessing. How long would it take to read 1,000 Durood Sharif? I guarantee not more than half an hour. I guarantee not more than half an hour. Maybe 15-20 minutes if you do Sallallahu Alaihi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's not long at all. Imagine you spent 15-20 minutes. And remember earlier, this can be while you're doing anything, whilst you're not concentrating. The narration from before, that if a person reads Durood Sharif and they don't concentrate, Allah Azza wa Jal sends mountains worth of angels to pray for his forgiveness. And the reward for sitting down carefully and putting your heart into it, the reward only Allah Azza wa Jal knows. And that's the beauty of Durood Sharif. And this is the blessing again that we have. It's so easy to get so many good deeds. And yeah, we just waste our time. We waste our time doing so many things. Like, for example, if you're at work as well, how often do you talk whilst at work? Imagine you replace them words with one Durood Sharif. Imagine if you calculated it over the days, how much Durood Sharif would you be able to read? And then you could send out Islam Iswab for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and then gain even more reward. And this is just one bit that I'm mentioning. That's how lucky we are to be part of this ummah, that we have the voices, the ability as well, by the mercy and grace of Allah Azza wa Jal, that we can send durood upon His Habib Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That will forever glorify Him, inshaAllah Azza wa Jal. So many blessings to recite in Durood Sharif. There's books, so many books written about blessings of Durood Sharif. And this is a blessing that we get, alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal. Now, because of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his du'as and his status, and his rank with Allah Azza wa Jal, this ummah is still alive and it hasn't been destroyed yet. Only because of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's du'as and his status and his rank. Because we've heard many stories about previous ummahs. We've heard about the famous story of Noah's Ark, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, of how his people were so evil that everything had to be drowned. The whole earth had to be drowned, and he had to be put into his ark. Take his ark and animals as well. And this is his ummah that got destroyed because they were so evil. And then you got Prophet Lut alayhi salam, that his people used to practice fornication with men and men. And then what happened to them? Their nation got turned upside down and all the rocks in the skies crushed them and they died. And the reason why our ummah, even though we have all these things happening, the reason why it's not happening to us, that we've not been destroyed yet as a nation because we are as crooked as they were, our nation is because of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his dua, that this ummah will keep going until the day of judgment, inshaAllah Azza wa Jal. And this is the beauty, again, how lucky we are to be part of this ummah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the main priority, the main thing that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that he will bring us and give to us, is what? If I asked you, what will Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam do for us? That is the most important thing. Our shifa session.
You know what I mean?
On the day of judgment. He will intercede for us on the day of judgment. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will intercede for us on the day of judgment. And before I give you some tafsir, in fact I remember there was still more on my iPad. There was this beautiful book about our beliefs regarding this as well. That the intercession of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that he is an intercessor for us, and through the special permission granted to him by Allah Azza wa Jal, he will intercede on the day of Qiyamah. And there will be a station, the Maqam Mahmud, that is a point of intercession for them. And all those who were there before and after, they will praise and honor the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is on the day of judgment. That we will praise Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Imam Bukhari Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi, in his book also states that the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was asked regarding the Maqam Mahmud, and he said, Hiya Shafa'ah. this is the station of intercession. Hazrat Imam Bukhari, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he quotes the hadith of intercession in the Sahih Bukhari, and in this is stated, ثم تلا هذه الآيات عسى أن يبعثك ربك مقاما محمودا الذي وعده نبيكم صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. That Rasulullah he recited this verse. It is near that your Lord may make you stand at a place where all should praise you. And he then said, and it has been promised to your Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is what Rasulullah talking about, this great maqam that he will have on the day of judgment, and we are part of his ummatees. Now Rasulullah on the day of judgment, he'll have this great maqam, this great station, status, rank, and we are part of the ummatees that will benefit from this, inshaAllah. And there's one more Quranic ayah. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. And very soon your Creator will bestow upon you so abundantly that you shall be satisfied, that you be completely pleased. And when this verse of the Holy Quran was revealed to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he said, then I will never be pleased until every single one of my ummah is removed from the fire of hell. This is what Rasulullah ﷺ, I will not be pleased until every single person from my ummah is removed from the fire of hell. And this is how lucky we are. This is his dua that he's going to use to save us, inshallah. Inshallah, we go with him straight to Jannah. But if there are any of us in the fire of hell, there is hope. That Rasulullah ﷺ, because we are his ummatees, because we are this lucky to be part of his ummah, that inshallah he will save us. That he will give us intercession, and that we can go into Jannah, inshallah, and gain the reward of Allah. Imam al-Mufassirin, Alauddin Ali ibn Muhammad ibn Ibrahim Baghdadi rahmatullahi ta'ala, in his Tafsir Khazin states the following on the commentary of the verse, on this verse that I just read. And verily soon your Creator will bestow upon you so abundantly that you shall be satisfied. The Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he stated, هي الشفاعة في أمته حتى يرضى. The meaning of this is the intercession for the ummah up to the time when you become pleased. Hazrat Auf bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu states that the Holy Prophet ﷺ has said, a certain person came to me of my Creator, and he gave me the option of either half of my ummah entering Jannah or my intercession. So I accepted the intercession, and this is for every such person except those who commit shirk. So Rasulullah ﷺ had chosen to intercede for us all instead of half his ummah being guaranteed Jannah. So he chooses to intercede for us all instead of just having half guaranteed Jannah. And this is how lucky we are, that we are part of this ummah, that we have Rasulullah ﷺ as our leader. Again, how many times do I have to say it? It needs to be said this many times, because this is how lucky we are. And we need to thank Allah Azza wa Jal. Say Alhamdulillah, that Rasulullah ﷺ is the one who's going to save us, our beloved Habib, his beloved Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Rasulullah ﷺ has said, and this is narrated by Hazrat Ali al-Murtada radiallahu ta'ala anhu, كرم الله وجهه الكريم, أشفع لأمتي حتى يناديني ربي رضيت يا محمد فقولوا نعم يا رب رضيت. That I will intercede for my ummah until my Creator, he summons me, saying, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, are you fully satisfied? Then I will say, O my Creator, I am fully satisfied. And what did Rasulullah say just before when I read this? That Rasulullah will only be satisfied when his whole ummah will have his intercession. Whether inshallah will all be in Jannah, inshallah. That's when Rasulullah will be pleased. And we are born into this ummah again. And I said before that other prophets, alayhim salam, they did dua to be part of this ummah. They did dua to be part of this ummah. And again, how much do we waste this? How much do we waste that what we have, this beautiful gift and blessings that we have? Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. I can keep going all night. Reports that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he said, one special dua of every Nabi is accepted. And every Nabi was swift, quick in making that dua. And I have kept this dua for the day of Qiyamah, for the shafa'at of my ummah. And this dua of mine is one that will reach that person in my ummah who died without committing shirk with Almighty Allah. Again, another narration. That Nabis, they have this great blessing that they can do dua, have one dua that is fully accepted by Allah Azza wa Jal. The rest of the Nabis, they did theirs as quick as possible, Rasulullah is saying. But Rasulullah is saying that he's waiting for the day of judgment, where he can ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give shifa to all his ummah. This is how beautiful our leader, our master Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is. That he is looking out for his ummah, that he even wanted his ummah to be the greatest. And he's the reason why we have such great nights and months like Ramadan. Ramadan is a blessing bestowed upon us by Allah Azza wa Jal because of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember what I said before, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's the distributor of all blessings. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us Ramadan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us the Holy Quran. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us himself. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us this blessing, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself is the distributor. He distributed the Holy Quran for us. His hadith, his sayings. There's so much that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us that we can't even count. And all bestowed because He is Allah Azza wa Jal's Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all these Durood Sharif blessings and fazail, the benefits of reading them that I've mentioned, we should always stay constant in the zikr of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and do read as much Durood Sharif as possible. One other night that's been bestowed upon us because of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a beautiful night, Laylatul Qadr. Laylatul Qadr is a night that no one exactly knows when the day is, but through some great scholars, they do believe it's on the 27th night. But that's where its greatest chances. It could possibly be on the odd nights of any of the last 10 days of Ramadan. And the reason why we were not specifically told is because then people would only specifically worship that night. They'd only, if you knew when Laylatul Qadr was, you'd specifically worship that night, not the other nights. You'd keep it a little bit less. So without us knowing, and if there's a possibility of there being Laylatul Qadr on any night in Ramadan, then we'll continuously keep praying as much as possible during those nights, in case Laylatul Qadr has come on that night. And this is the wisdom behind not telling, or Rasulullah not telling his ummah when Laylatul Qadr is. And we have such a blessed night. And if you know the story, I can go on to the story behind Laylatul Qadr, but it might just be a bit too long for now as I try and read the last bit of this dars today, which will be some commentary from the Holy Quran, and again, how lucky we are to be part of the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنَاتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ غَلِظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ فَاعْفُ عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. So it's only by the translation. So it's only by the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, O my apostle, that you have been soft towards them. And if you have been harsh and hard-hearted, they would certainly have dispersed from around you. So pardon them and seek Allah Azza wa Jal's forgiveness for them, and take counsel with them in the affair. And when you have finally made up your mind about anything, put your trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. Surely Allah Azza wa Jal loves the trustful. The verse does not imply that now we are away from Allah Azza wa Jal, and that only on the day of judgment we will be brought near Him. We are always every moment of our life near Him, or He is nearer to us than our jugular vein. However, we are at a great distance from Him, in the sense that engrossed as we are in the affairs of this world, we do not feel that we are close to Him. On the day of judgment, when this world and its affairs will have ended, there will be no veil between our Lord and ourselves, and we will see with our own eyes that we are in His presence. And this is again by the blessings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah Azza wa Jal had sent the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as mercy for the worlds, and He proved that He was the mercy for the worlds. Mercy and mildness were indeed outstanding characteristics of His personality, and He was always generous and their faults without a word of reproach. His gracious disposition attracted people to Him, and His message with such force that those who came into contact with Him stood by Him in all circumstances. And furthermore, Allah Azza wa Jal, He intercedes for the offenders in an extraordinary manner. He asked the Prophet ﷺ not only to forgive them their weakness, but also to pray to Him to pardon them. So Allah Azza wa Jal is telling Rasulullah ﷺ to forgive our weaknesses and do dua to Allah Azza wa Jal for us. The verse attests to the unique position of the Prophet ﷺ in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also to the high status of the companions in spite of the momentary lapse on the part of some of them. The verse also establishes that asking the Prophet ﷺ's intercession is not an act of assigning partners to Allah Azza wa Jal. This is not shirk. For Allah Azza wa Jal Himself has bestowed upon him the right to plead with Him on behalf of His sinning servants. So in this Quranic ayah and the tafsir, it's clear that even Allah Azza wa Jal recommends us. He tells us to ask His Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam to intercede for us, to do dua to Allah Azza wa Jal, that we are forgiven, that we get straight passage into Jannah inshaAllah. When we go to see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina Sharif, the beautiful green dome, the beautiful golden grills, and when you're presenting yourself and you've given your salam to Him, and you recited your durud sharif, and you do dua in the cause of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam helps you there, won't Allah will accept your dua? Of course, because this is the status of our beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of Allah's beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, it all comes back to how lucky we are that we are born in this ummah. There's many more. I've got many more narrations here of how we're lucky to be in this ummah, that we were born here, but time limits us. So inshallah Azza wa Jal, I want everyone to take away from today how lucky we are, how insanely lucky we are, that thankfully Allah Azza wa Jal has not only one, made us part of this ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but two, has made us alive in the first place, has made us Muslims, has made us of the correct aqidah of the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah as well, and that we love and revere the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam so much, and not like other people who do not believe in his knowledge. So inshallah Azza wa Jal, let us all love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah Azza wa Jal increase our love for him Azza wa Jal and for his beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let only the deen enter our hearts and take away the dunya out of our hearts. And may Allah Azza wa Jal give us ilm. Because when Allah Azza wa Jal, He wants goodness for a person, He wishes well for a person, He gives them understanding of the deen. So inshallah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal will bestow this upon us. Ameen. Bijahi Nabil Ameen. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.